I have a bad habit of not fully explaining myself when I talk about my ideas. So, when I was talking about um, how the atoms from the different elements will compress when the tube containing the different elements is inserted into a rotating disc, the aperture of a rotating disc. Okay, so what I did not fully explain there is that at a certain rotation velocity, all of the element will be compressed to one end. But if you increase the rotation velocity, that same element will then begin to be compressed within the center point of the rotating disc. Okay? And that's where gravity comes in, because my physics professor, he kept saying that you can't prove this because it doesn't show that gravity is associated with pushing and pulling. Okay? That you can't, because it's a thing. That's what you have to do to prove gravity, is prove that it pushes and pulls, that it's a force. So that's what happens. Like, and you know this. Everybody knows this because you can watch when you're drained. You can watch a drain. And you know that leaves will float and go to the outside of the corridor, or like the outside of the, I don't remember what it's called, the edge, right? And the center of the drain is spinning very quickly. But different materials will, some of the materials will stay farther away as long as the rotation stays the same in the drain. Some of the materials will stay far away, and other materials will very quickly go to the center and go down the drain. And that's what I'm talking about, is to show how the materials that stay away, the center of the drain isn't spinning fast enough to overtake its ability to stay on the outside and not be affected by the gravitational pull of the center of the drain, which is a gravity well. That's what that is. I didn't fully explain that in the other video because I'm bipolar and I have, 5, 10 different tabs open in my brain, and that's how I do things. I look at all these tabs and I'm like, hey man, all these things have this thing in common. Let's see if I can exploit that. If I can take some common ideas and exploit this commonality between my 5 to 10 open tabs and show a pattern, show that these things have a pattern and we can make them work together. All right. So I wanted to say that I wanted to more fully explain what's going on with the tying in angular momentum with a spinning disk and a small aperture to gravity, and show that if you increase the rotation velocity of the spinning disk, then you can push molecules of atoms away at one point, increase the velocity of the spinning disk, and the atoms will then move to the center point of the aperture. But I don't think glass will be able to handle that pressure. I think that we'll have to have another material. But that's another problem with the project. Okay, I wanted to point that out. Thanks for listening.